Yo, this your boy Instinct, and this will be my first reaction on this channel. As I want to start expanding my content from just power scaling stuff. You know, this video is power scaling, but it's like a memeable kind of way. Like I said, I wanted to do more expanding my content, not just off of power scaling, but also reaction videos as well. So let's get into it. And reaction we're going to be doing is reacting to Lonk's takes. Though I disagree with most of his takes, then there's some takes that are just straight up alright, and this one's funny.
What do an elephant, a rock, a bullet, a building, and a fire hydrant all have in common? Well, they're all stronger than Goku. If you have spent any time on the Dragon Ball community, you probably at some point have run across the infamous Dragon Ball anti-feat. They're usually scenes either because of lack of context or simply for the sake of fight choreography that make the characters of Dragon Ball appear far more weak than they actually are. Opponents of Dragon Ball scaling will usually take these anti-feats and unironically...
And you know what's funny? When someone brings up anti-feats for their favorite verse, they want to change up the narrative. Nah, bro, you can't do that. You said all that shit with your chest out against Dragon Ball when they have quote-unquote anti-feats, but when your verse also has quote-unquote anti-feats, now you want to change up the narrative. Nah, fam, we gotta stay consistent. Keep it 100, bro. Gotta keep it a buck, bro. Morals and ethics, bro.
Things like Broly slamming Goku into ice, or Goku getting hit by a train to say that Goku isn't actually a planet buster or a universe buster. Obviously, these guys shouldn't be taken seriously, as there's almost always context for why these things happen, but I still think it is pretty funny to point out the numerous times random everyday things in Dragon Ball seem to be as strong as the strongest beings in the multiverse. It seems like the actually funny side of the Dragon Ball community agrees with me, as they created 5 brand new characters based on some of the most infamous anti-feats in Dragon Ball history, and thus created the most powerful team in fictional history, the Anti-Goku Squad. Who are each of these warriors, and more importantly, how strong are they? Series, where I look into the different fan-made creations of the Dragon Ball community, break them down, and do my best to power scale them. If you like this kind of stuff, make sure to like and subscribe. We are so close to 100k subscribers, and I can't get there without your help. That being said, let's jump right in. So this image has been all over the Dragon Ball community when it first dropped last year. I have tried my best to find the original creator of this drawing, and the oldest and seemingly most popular post was this one on Reddit. But that is just my best guess, and I would very much like to give proper credit to the original creator of this meme. These guys don't exactly have an official name, but I will be calling them the Anti-Goku Squad, as all of them are based on specific anti-feats that happen to Goku throughout Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super, and Dragon Ball GT. Regardless, this drawing is actually a traced over image of Dragon Ball Super Volume 24, which
this meme has been used a lot. They used the cover for like a lot of shit, you know what I'm saying? It ain't even just Dragon Ball either, even something like FNAF, even South Park of all things, obviously, and other shit, etc, etc.
Goku, Vegeta, Broly, Piccolo, and Gohan all aura farming together in their strongest forms. The question becomes then, what do each of these anthropomorphized animals and inanimate objects represent across Dragon Ball? And more importantly, if they were turned into a fighter with the given power level of their so-called anti-feat, like they are in the art, how strong would they be, and who would be the strongest among them? So, going from weakest to strongest, let's break down the power scaling of the Anti-Goku Squad. Coming in at the bottom of the list, we have The Rock. No, this rock. Now, Dragon Ball characters using telekinesis and throwing rocks at each other is nothing new. It was one of Frieza's signature moves during the Namek arc, and is still one of his go-to attacks even during the Tournament of Power. Instead, of course, the rock here is the one thrown by Krillin during the Cell Saga. Now, in the original context of this scene, this is during the week-long break period leading up to the Cell Games, where instead of training, Goku just goes around enjoying life alongside Gohan. Now, this scene in particular seems very slanderous for Goku, given that he isn't just in his base form and is instead in Super Saiyan, and how much in pain he acts after getting hit, literally doubling over and holding his head and screaming. Of course, originally, just because he's Super Saiyan doesn't really mean anything, as this is Mastered Super Saiyan, a state that expends and requires essentially no energy, and that's literally shown in the scene, given that Goku is literally asleep and off guard when Krillin chucks the rock at him. In other words, Goku at this moment is essentially the same as a regular human. Still, when being transferred transferred to the Anti-Goku Squad, the Rock becomes able to damage and make full power Cell Saga Goku cry out in pain in a single hit.
True,
this clearly
bro.
puts
Hey,
the Rock on the level of perfect Cell,
that
if
Rock
not
is
slightly
just,
above him.
that,
As while Cell never truly went all out against Cell Saga Goku, he was never able to make him feel that much pain in a single hit. For being the weakest member of the team, already being on the level of the Cell Saga high tiers isn't so bad.
It's crazy.
Next is the Elephant, who actually...
Ah, yes, the ultimate elephant.
Comes from the exact same time period as The Rock, originating from the downtime leading to the Cell games. In this scene, Mastered Super Saiyan Goku is going around with the Dragon Radar collecting the Dragon Balls, and as it turns out, one of them is sitting among a herd of elephants. When Goku goes to grab the Dragon Ball, an elephant comes by and steps on his hand, causing him again to scream out in pain and have tears in his eyes afterwards.
That shit
now, just like
bro.
the Krillin Rock scene, both of these events are not in the original manga and were added as anime-only events. It seems like someone in the anime writer's room really liked gags about Goku getting hurt by random stuff that he shouldn't be hurt by. Regardless, the situation here is pretty much the same as The Rock. Goku simply isn't using any of his combat power here, and in fact, the very fact his hand wasn't flattened completely is actually kind of impressive. However, for hype moments and aura purposes, this elephant is a beast. Not only does the elephant with a single step make Goku scream in pain and literally start crying, but unlike with The Rock, Goku was on guard and got blitzed by the elephant, with the animal moving literally too fast for Goku to react and pull his hand away from in time, and literally didn't even feel the Dragon Ball or Goku under his foot. In fact, this scene was the very one that I think inspired this meme, with other artists drawing stuff like the elephant pulling up and still being stronger than
bro, that shit fry me, bro. He still asks me. I cannot. Damn, why MUI though? Not Master Super Saiyan though. That's even crazier.
So if you want to bring in the extended lore of the Anti-Goku Squad, then the elephant goes probably to number 1 on this list. Still, with that feat alone of completely blitzing Goku and making him cry, I think the elephant is easily a super perfect Cell level opponent who could have easily won the Cell games if he had decided to participate. Next, we experience an absolutely gigantic leap in power, going through the rest of Dragon Ball Z's arcs and almost the entirety of Dragon Ball GT until we reach the building. In this scene, Naturon Shenron is causing chaos throughout a still populated city, causing buildings and structures to collapse. In particular, a several-story office building begins to fall over, with base GT Goku sweeping in to stop it from falling, only to seemingly not be able to do so, needing to transform into Super Saiyan 4 to push it back into place and save everyone inside it. Now, in context, you can make any number of legitimate explanations as to why Goku did this. My personal headcanon, at least, is that he needed greater amounts of ki control with Super Saiyan 4 and...
Yeah, that building, Jurassic Park fans, you guys are done. That includes you Poppy Playtime fans too. Let's not act like it's not gonna happen.
While we know that Kid Goku in GT isn't any weaker than his adult self, we know he struggles more with certain key usage like teleportation, a problem that goes away with Super Saiyan 4. Given that he's pushing on a window, if he just pushed with physical strength, the window would just break and the building would still fall. So by going Super Saiyan 4, he has enough key control to actually move the building properly and safely while the people inside remain unharmed. But again, we're here for Wank, and this building was simply too heavy or too powerful for base GT Goku and even Super Saiyan 3 GT Goku to stop. This means that even as a low baseline for GT's power, this building would be over 400 times stronger than Majin Buu, making its power level a threat to the entire universe literally hundreds of times over. Though we know it's not Super Saiyan 4 level, as that was able to push the building, so it's probably not stronger than the likes of Super Baby 2. Still, being a building that weighs more than the universe is a pretty big jump from a solar system busting elephant. Moving on from Dragon Ball GT, we enter Dragon Ball Super with the Bullet. The thing is, this one can technically be referring to two different very similar events in Dragon Ball Super that happen around the same time. Mai attempting to kill Goku Black, and Goku getting scratched by a bullet. Now, as you know, literally from the very beginning, bullets have not been relevant in any capacity in Dragon Ball. Kid Goku got shot in the head by Bulma and was honestly more angry than hurt. Raditz caught a bullet and throws it back harder than it was fired, and the list goes on. However, in both of these Dragon Ball Super scenes, bullets are somehow still kinda relevant. In the first scene, it seems like there's a real genuine chance that my sniper shot might actually kill base Goku Black while he's sitting and having tea with himself, and she just misses. In the
That's
other,
true,
a
bro.
heavily suppressed Goku fights a group of robbers and gets lightly scratched when a bullet grazes his skin. Neither of these scenarios are anti-feats. In both, Goku and Goku Black are both just off guard and suppressed, which is a common theme in Super, but we want the full potential of the bullet. Given that the bullet is able to harm Goku and could have killed Goku Black if he had hit, this
Yep.
easily puts him at the Black Arc's near pinnacle of power, only surpassed by the end of the Arc
The
Blues and
bullet's built
Fusions.
different.
This
He's the
Goku Black
strongest
had
on
already
here.
fought and absolutely bullied Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta, who in turn had surpassed God Goku from Battle of Gods not only by an entire transformation, but years of extra training and honestly absorbing that power into base, making the bullet easily multiversal in power. Now, just like the Rock and the Elephant, the bullet and Fire Hydrant are closely related, and perhaps his position in the drawing as seemingly the leader makes sense. Now, I think the other 4 members of the squad are far more obvious and well known than the Fire Hydrant, because honestly, this selection is...
Oh yeah, the fire hydrant is the trickiest one, bro. I'm gonna be fair. It's looking a little shaky. Cause like in the manga, I remember when Zamasu literally kicked Goku down to the ground, and somehow the fire hydrant was to stop that momentum. That's actually kind of crazy. And no, Goku did not get hurt by that hot fire hydrant. It stopped his momentum, which is crazy. Like I said before, it's wild stuff, bro.
super niche. But in the manga version of the Goku Black arc, Fusamasu throws Goku at a fire hydrant and it doesn't even budge or take damage. That's right, a random fire hydrant not only stopped base Super Goku's body, but the force of an attack from merged Zamasu, clearly putting it leaps and bounds over the power of all of the other members of the Anti-Goku Squad. I think it goes without saying that this random rusty fire hydrant could have been a rival to Vegito Blue and maybe even Beerus himself, if he had decided to do anything other than say Still and Aura Farm. Still, pretty cool that Dragon Ball has a fire hydrant that can solo the big 3. But yeah, that's the insane lore of the Anti-Goku Squad. Again, I think stuff like this represents how funny the Dragon Ball community can be when it isn't showing the same memes from 15 years ago.
Hey, Anti-Goku Squad souls your verse. Cry about it. Peace.